Yazid Al-Raji is slowly getting back to form after incurring a serious vertebrae injury in April. The Saudi explained that he needs time to recover his strength and sharpness, while the bone can take up to 8 months to fully heal. So he's just taking things smooth and not overdoing the workload. He was 9th today.
We don't drive around 5 months.
The overall victory went to João Diaz, who seized control of this class on stage 2 and never looked back. The Santac racing driver won 2 stages and finished on the podium of the other 3. A former Portuguese and European champion in the T3s, he now adds a W2RC event to his CV.
Yeah.
Well, Nasser Al-Attiyah finished the rally in typical Nasser Al-Attiyah style, with victory. But this time the Qatari wasn't in overall contention due to his big penalty midway through the week. He finished 11th, but remains 20 points clear in the World Rally Raid Championship. Spoiler alert, Nasser. But yes, indeed, it was his Dacia teammate Sebastian Loeb who claimed the stage honours, winning by 27 seconds from Ekstrom. The Frenchman had good pace from start to finish, no problems, no punctures, nice and clean, and leaving Nasser behind here. But he and Edouard Boulanger will have to open the road tomorrow. By almost 2 minutes was Moraes's teammate, Henk Laterken. The South African is in unfamiliar terrain here in Portugal, so he said it was quite nerve-wracking at the start, especially with all the blind crests. However, he and co-driver Brett Cummings grew into the stage and they eventually powered their way to victory. Not bad for 2 guys who only did their first race in Europe a week ago.
I must have really enjoyed myself in the car. We started to have a bit of fun. And
Alexander Pinto was unable to complete the Rally to Maroc due to a couple of stage retirements, but in spite of not competing today, the Portuguese driver secured the championship title in the SSVs. He was already certain of victory after his nearest rival, Enrico Gaspari, decided not to enter this event. The Portuguese takeover continues in the SSVs, and today it was João Diaz's turn to take top spots. The domestic drivers look set to battle it out for the rest of the week, having once again locked out the top 8 positions on the day. Diaz now leads the rally ahead of the W2RC frontrunner, Alexander Pinto. Much bigger implications for the World Rally Raid Championship, that of Henk Laterken. The South African also started strong, but the rear diff gave up just before a dune section. There was no way to fix it, and you try getting a 2.5-ton car over big dunes with only front-wheel drive. Laterken losing a lot of time and potentially any hopes of becoming world champion. Victory went to Matthias Ekstrom, who was on an absolute tear. The Swede finishing as the 8th fastest FIA car, ahead of most of the ultimates. A great way to bounce back after he retired yesterday with a broken prop shaft. That EKS at Can-Am is running very nicely indeed.
Yesterday we had
in the standings. With Navarro taking the overall lead, his teammate Daniel Akil romped to the stage victory. The Saudi had been targeting the win in Morocco, so she was really disappointed to lose over an hour yesterday, but this was the perfect way to bounce back. Akil winning by over 2 minutes from Paul Spearings.
I woke up today and got to the stage, and me and my co-driver Kadu, we were like, look, let's just...
Here's a less familiar name, Daniel Schroeder, who's been doing a fine job this week. The German's competing for the family team, PS Laser Racing, alongside his father Jürgen, and he began the day 7th overall as the leading privateer. In recent years, Daniel's been a regular at the South African Rally Raid Championship, so he knows these tracks, and he took another top 10 today. It was a disastrous day for Alexander Pinto in the SSVs. The W2RC leader suffered a big impact and lost over an hour and a half, seriously damaging his chances of picking up big points this week. But they did at least get the car to the finish line. Meanwhile, there was Adam Kush was putting it all out there in the Challengers today, powering his way to 3rd place on the stage. The pole is also up to 3rd overall after Pau Navarro lost more than half an hour.
So yeah, it's been so...
Off the bottom step. Replacing them in the top three at the very last, the Portuguese pairing of José Nogueira and Arcélio Couto. A combination of steady Eddie driving and others' bad luck led them to a second third place result and the podium with a gap of just under 10 minutes.
It was a mixed day for the Gottschall family, with Michael forced to DNS after accidentally setting off his fire extinguisher just before the stage. Eric, on the other hand, powered to his second consecutive stage win, which leaves him 6 minutes clear of his father Marek before tomorrow's final outing.
I am feeling confident. I know my father is at the second position, so I know I cannot sleep.
Nazareno Lopez came to this rally in a Hilux 8 years ago after doing 2 editions of the Dakar, but this is his first experience in the BBR Taurus. Well, Nazar is clearly a fast learner because he stormed to victory today on what he described as the first proper stage of the week. He and co-driver Alessandro Cisterna are nearly an hour back overall, but this was still a sensational performance. Onto the challengers, and rally leader Rokas Baciuska bounced back in style after his problems yesterday. The Lithuanian got a puncture from a broken rim, and that cost him 7 minutes and meant that he had to set off as the 12th FIA vehicle today. But despite eating a lot of dust, he won the stage by 3.5 minutes from his closest overall rival, Nicolas Cavigliasso. Baciuska now leads by over 9 minutes, but he knows better than most that it ain't over till it's over. 3 max. And yes, you guessed it, there was another stage win for the Gottschall clan, Eric taking the honours ahead of his dad Marek. The 19-year-old making the most of a broken steering arm for his uncle Michal to also snatch the overall lead.
I got a little bit mad after.
And it was even worse for 2018 champion Martin Prokop in his Orlen Jippo car. He had to abandon the special less than halfway through. The Czech has 3 second-place finishes here too, but although it looks like he'll be able to start tomorrow, it won't be a 5th podium for him this year.
Was denied a 3rd win of the rally by this man, Charles Munster. The Luxembourger's been knocking on the door all week and finally took the stage honours on the road to Lisbon. After his victory at Baja Aragon this summer, Munster is on course for 2nd place. It's only his 2nd event in the W2RC. Nicolas Cavigliasso was happy to see the finish line today. He's had all sorts of issues this week. The brakes, the suspension, the dust, you name it. Luckily, there weren't major problems, so he finished inside the top 5 overall and remains the frontrunner in the W2RC. The Portuguese crews had another excellent day in the SSVs. Alexander Pinto and Bernardo Oliveira kept a steady pace throughout, but they were denied victory and a repeat of last year's Stage 1 success by a late penalty, the duo missing out by just 13 seconds. Well, they were beaten by their... Well, victory went to another Portuguese driver, Luís Portela. As well as completing the Dakar a few years ago, he once played for the national rugby team. And he is clearly delighted to be throwing himself into this SSV scrum. He and co-driver David Megre, another former rugby player, converting their first try of the rally. It was also a rock and roll day for the Dacia Sand Riders. Nasser Al-Attiyah spent a long time hoovering up the dust behind Juan Cruz Jacopini, and he then got stuck for nearly a quarter of an hour after misjudging a corner. Luckily, his teammate Cristina Gutierrez arrived to get him back on track, but the Qatari still lost. 2nd place on this 2nd stage went to Abdulaziz Al-Kawari. The Qatari comes from a big rally family and he's competing for Al-Attiyah's team, Nasser Racing. He was actually trailing his teammate Khalifa Al-Attiyah for much of the stage, but Nasser's younger brother ran into trouble late on. Gonzalo Guerrero took a big step towards overall victory in the Challengers with a very smooth performance today. While his main overall rivals, Pau Navarro and Pim Klaassen, lost over an hour each, the Portuguese driver came home comfortably in 3rd and now leads by over 16 minutes.